to Zohan Reviews Cars. I'm your host Zohan, and oof, do we have some car news to go over today, you guys. So we have a lot, well, kind of like a lot, but I know it's been a bit since I last posted on this channel, but we're back now. Been a bit crazy these past few weeks, but I'm happy to be back now. But anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and begin. So the first car that we're going over today is the new 2025 Nissan Armada. So the new Armada has been redesigned for 2025, and it's now having a completely new interior and exterior, along with a new trim level. So the new trim level is the Pro 4X trim, the more off-road oriented trim. This is the first time that the Pro 4X is coming to the US, so it's quite exciting. And honestly, I'm quite excited for this new Armada. It looks really nice. I hope to definitely review one of these in the future. But anyways, the new Armada uses a new engine, which is a 3.5 liter twin turbocharged V6, making 425 horsepower. So which means this is also the same engine as the new Infiniti QX80. So one thing here about this engine is the Armada makes 425 horsepower and the QX80 makes 450. So there's a little bit of a gap there, but it's not really big at all, because obviously Nissan to at least preserve some things for the more expensive QX80 and at least make it better than what they did in the previous one, because the previous one didn't really have much to differentiate the interior from the Armada or the QX80. So it's good that they're redesigning the new Armada and actually making it a lot more different than the previous QX80. But when you hop into the interior of the new Armada, you're going to see a very similar dash layout. But for the climate controls, you will get physical buttons, and you will not actually get that big screen in the center for your climate controls like the Infiniti QX80 is. But anyways, that is the new Nissan Armada. I will probably talk more about this in another video. But anyways, moving on to the next car. So the next car that we're going to be talking about today is the new 2025 Audi Q5. So the new 2025 Audi Q5, I've not really seen much about this car at all yet. I just heard that the car got redesigned, so this is kind of going to be a new, it's going to be like a first impressions for you guys, if you guys have not seen the new Q5 in me, because I've seen the new Q5, but I've not watched any videos or anything about this new Q5. So, the new Q5, it has a big overhaul in the styling, that's for sure. And I have to say, you guys, from the rear of this new Q5 definitely reminds me a lot of either the new Q6 e-tron or the new Q4 e-tron. The front end reminds me a lot of the e-tron, the Q8 e-tron, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, because I do think this new Q5 is a very handsome looking car, and I would actually buy one. I always thought the outgoing Q5 was very nice looking, and I definitely think about it the same way as the new one. So the new Q5, the base one will have a turbo 2-liter 4-cylinder making 268 horsepower, and the SQ5 will have a turbocharged 3-liter V6 making 362 horsepower, and also 406 pound-feet of torque. So it's not saying the torque figure for the standard Q5 is just dumping to the SQ5, but that is okay. But anyways, I will actually put pictures of the new Q5, the SQ5 and the standard Q5 up on the screen right now. And the new interior, you guys, it is getting a completely new steering wheel actually. And to be honest, comment down below, do you guys like the new steering wheel that Audi is doing, or do you guys prefer the old one? Because to me, it's a mix. I like the design of the old one. It's very simple, very traditional car-like, but the new one is very futuristic looking. So you do have your new curved display on the interior, and you also have your passenger display as well. And for the rear seats, basically everything you'd see in a normal 5-seater SUV. You got your rear armrest back there, climate controls, charging ports, and your climate vents. You also have a panoramic sunroof. I'm pretty sure this one actually opens to vent air too, and everything, which is really good, considering that there's a lot of new cars that do not open their sunroof to vent air anymore. So back to the infotainment actually. So It is a 11.9-inch virtual cockpit display and a 14.5-inch MMI touch display. And this also has a 10.9-inch passenger display. So those are the sizes, because I know I just mentioned those, but I did not mention the sizes. Anyways, so it actually does say pricing. The pricing for the new Q5 is going to roughly start at around $58,000, which is, ooh, that's quite steep, honestly, because the standard Audi Q5 starts at, I think, around 48 right now. Yeah, no, the standard Q5 starts at 45, so this is a lot more expensive than the standard Q5 from, well, not standard Q5, than the current generation Q5. And it's not looking any cheaper for the SQ5 either. So it's saying the SQ5, the new one, is going to start at $92,000, you guys. So compared to the current Q5, the current Audi Q5, the SQ5, current SQ5 starts at $57,000. So that's a pretty big price jump, you guys, over the standard current Q5 right now, SQ5, excuse me. But there's that. Again, comment down below what you guys think of this new Q5. I have to say, I actually do like the styling of this Q5, but the pricing is a very big difference over the old one. But who knows, this car is probably worth the price, to be honest. I don't know, we'll have to see. Maybe I can go look at one later and we can actually see, and I can see for myself if this car is actually worth that pretty steep price compared to the current generation one. But anyways, moving on. So next we have some different car news. So Acura could potentially be discontinuing the TLX. So Acura could potentially be discontinuing the TLX for the end of 2025. So looking at the current TLX sales, in 2014, the TLX sold 19,127 vehicles, and in Canada, it was 1,828. So 2015, the TLX has sold was about 48,000, and in Canada, about 5,075. So 2016, 37,000, 3,000 in Canada, and moving all the way down here to 2020, we have gotten to 21,785. So it went up a little bit in 2021, and it sold 26,100 TLXs. Acura, I'm sorry, I keep saying TLX, but yeah, anyways. So in 2022, it went down a lot at 11,508, and at 2023, it was 16,731. So it definitely went down a lot. And in Canada, in 2022, they sold 979. Glad though to see that another sedan might be heading to the graveyard by the end of next year, because there's a lot of sedans recently that have been either planned to get discontinued or have already been discontinued. So that's quite disappointing. But like I mentioned earlier, how the sales of the TLX really went down in 2022. That's probably a year that Acura and Honda will never want to see again, considering that that's when the chip shortage and everything was. So the last thing that we're going over in today's video is Infiniti could kill off the QX50 and QX55 SUVs. Why? I think the reason's pretty obvious here. The QX50 and QX55 both use the same engine as the previous generation 2020 Nissan Rogue. And in 2021, when the Rogue was redesigned, it carried over the same engine, but it did have 10 more horsepower. Actually, no, 11 more horsepower. Then in 22, they updated the engine to a 1.5-liter turbocharged 3-cylinder, making 201 horsepower. The Infiniti QX50 and QX55 had the same 4-cylinder CVT engines, but I think they had like 200-something horsepower. but they did carry over the same CVT engine, and they did not implement a new engine at all. So they kept those same engines, and now in 2024, when the Rogue was refreshed, they added a lot of new tech, and they also added a new touchscreen and everything. So the QX50 and QX55 did unfortunately stay the same, and since you are able to get better technology in the new Rogue, and basically better everything really, unless you really love the styling of the QX50 and QX55, I generally don't think it's necessary to get neither of these, and that's the reason why the potential could be killing both of these cars off. Because again, the Rogue, it's way cheaper, and the QX55 and QX50 are a lot more expensive for a less better car in terms of interior wise. But I do have to say the interior of the cars do look nice, but tech wise it's not really the best. But anyways, that's going to conclude this video. Tell me what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you guys next one.